Well, good afternoon. Welcome to Wood Chip Woodworking. Today we're going to work on our platter. But first of all, let's do a little housekeeping. My name is Paul Courtwright. Thank you for stopping by Wood Chip Woodworking. Please feel free to share, subscribe, and like. And if you get that little hype button down below, make sure you check that and let's see what that algorithm will do. All right, all the housekeeping's done. Place is cleaned up. Now it's time to make a mess out of it again. So let's talk about today's project. All right, today's project is going to be a follow-up to what we had before. And as you can see, when I did this, for whatever reason, it worked pretty good. So we're going to put it back on the lathe and see if we can't salvage it. If not, we're going to scrap this idea and move on to the next one. But that's my plan is I got to retrue this up. And then I'm going to have to come back in and retrue this up. So I'm not sure what's going to be left when I'm done. But let's find out. And if it's worthwhile saving, we'll save it. If not, it'll be firewood. So anyway, let's get started on today's project. Let's get it on the lathe and show you how I'm going to true it up. Hang tight. All right, here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it, use my chuck as a drive or a faceplate or whatever you want to call it. And I'm just going to put the chuck around that area in there. And I'm going to run my tailstock up against the base of it. So, and then we'll true it up. So here we go. All right. And I don't know if this is going to work because we're gonna make some marks on it to see if it's even worthwhile even attempting here first. Let me get you around here, show you what I'm doing so you understand it. And then we'll go from there. We'll make a decision. All right, so let's make a decision. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line here to see how far out around it is. And I'm about 1/8 inch there. Let's get a marker so we can see it. Hang tight. All right, we got a marker here. Be able to see better with this. So, and I'm thinking this ain't going to work too well. Okay, that's basically my base here. That's how much to make this part flat I'm going to have to take off. If you look at it there. Let me get you around here a little better. See it. All right, as you can see, that I turn off all this. Come around, it gives me that little bit there. I mean, I've got a little bit, and then I've got this out here. So now let's move my tool rest around, and I want to see what the front looks like. Okay, so I'm finding the spot that's in the furthest, and it's pushing out right there. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to mark this and see what we get. Okay, it's pushing out right there, so that ain't going to be a good representation of what it is. Okay. So if I turn this away and turn that away, my platter's only going to be that thick. Got to make a decision here because that's going to have to go down fairly deep to grab a hold of it with my chuck. I don't know. All right, let's think this through and you tell me what your thoughts are. I'm thinking about scrapping the idea here on this one. If I'm turned the face of it down to my thinnest spot, which is here, I can save this. But coming around this side, I'm going to cut into that. And this side here, I'll cut a lot of that away. I hate to get rid of it, but you know what? Let's just go with it and see what happens. So hang tight and we'll get set up. All right, so let's give this a shot and see what happens. This might be a waste of time. Then again, it might be just a simple little platter. This was going to be a outboard turning at first, and then it was going to be a embellished thing, and then it cracked on me, and I had to do some other work to it, and it's just been one thing after another. So, first of all, let's get this part right here trued up, and let's see what we got here. Okay, so I'm going to clean up this front edge, and we'll go from there. As you can tell, it's on around. All right, so I'm not sure what all was recorded, but what not. So let's just go back to real quick to the beginning and recap it all. Trying to figure out whether I can save this piece or not. We're going to attempt to try to make a platter out of it. It's going to be a thin one. Might do some embellishing on it. I don't know. And then I've got this here. I'm going to turn this around. I've got it in front of my chuck. Everything's tight. And now we're going to straighten this all up and clean this up and put a new foot on that. So that's the plan. Here we go. Let me get my mic up here where you can hear me. All right. So this whole piece that I've been working on has been a challenge, just due to the fact that I've had to stop a couple different times, and my whole train of thought has changed every time I work on it. Originally it was going to be a footwork thing. Now not so much. So we've had to improvise a little bit. I'll try to save as much as I can down here as possible. Tool is loose. There we are. Make sure it's not hitting. We got to put a foot right in there, so I'm going to turn this out, clean this up. Let's see how much we've got down. We might have it. Yeah, I would say we've got it. All right, I'm not going to take too much over. I'm going to put a foot right in there. Got my handy dandy little calibrated measuring tool here. We're going to use our big chuck. So we're going to use our big thing jaws. So it's going to have to be bigger than that. And somewhere in there. So let's draw this out. So it's got to be bigger than that. And it'll be out here somewhere. So it's got to be somewhere between there if we use our big jaws. I think that's what we're going to do. All right, so let me get my bidet here. I love using this tool to make my foot in here. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it just about this width, and then I'll be able to grab it from both sides if I had to. So should be a good enough foot right there to work with. Now I'm going to clean this up a little bit. Clean that up just a hair. We'll flip it around. Yeah, because I want to get a good idea of what we're looking at here. Do the second part first. this cleaned up out here. Use my tool rest out. I'm not going to do anything there because when I flip it around, I'll finish the base of that off. So. All right, that's pretty good. All right, that cleans that up nice. We're going to leave that as is, and I'll flip it around, and then we'll be right back. So hang tight. All right, so we got her flipped around, and now what we're going to do is see if we can true up on the face, and we're going to make a thin platter. So, and I've got this edge here. This edge is pretty close, and I got a couple little marks in here I want to get rid of, but that's not a problem. Hang tight. Let me go do something here real quick, and I'll be right back. All right, so here we go. Now I've got that set back up. Make sure she's tight. She's good and tight. And now let's work on the face of this. We're going to do a little bit of each time. I got a piece I got to take off there to make that flat. And then we'll go from there. So, and as you can tell, the epoxy there, the other thing is going to be this here. Once I get this flat. All right. Yeah, it's coming out, so we're going to have to take it the rest of the way out, but that's fine. That's how much it warped. So we'll get that down, and I think we'll make this a wide rim, and then we'll take the bottom of this out just a little bit. So continue to take that out. Nice clean shear scrape on this. All right, let's see what we look like. I think I still got some blue in there I need to take out. A little bit there, a little bit there. So take a little bit more. Get rid of that. Won't take much. Okay, see how that looks. A little bit more. Doing good. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like it the way it is. So now let's move up and we'll take care of that. And I want to make sure that I've got enough meat down in here. We don't want to make a funnel. So we're going to move this up to this. And take this down flat. Well, let's measure that and see where we're at. All right, got my handy dandy little calipers here. Got about a 1/2 inch. That's as deep as I want to go. So I can clean this up and let's see where we're at. I'm going to make a bead right here. not making it right there. Come in a little bit more. Ooh. Now that right there was this edge here, and I should take that edge off because that got my glove. All right, clean this edge up a little bit more. Do a shear scrape. Okay. Sure. All right. It got me close. Anyway. All right. So I want to make a bead right there. So I want to make a bead right there. Let me get my smaller spindle gouge here. I'm going to make a bead right there. That looks pretty good. So I got a lot of this I got to get rid of, but I'm not worried about that just yet. So now let's get into there. I'm going to get my tailstock out of the way. And we're going to look at how deep I can go, which is probably not going to be very much. And I'm actually thinking I might do some pour paint in that. Mix up some pour paint and pour it in there. And then do some embellishment on this outer edge is what I'm thinking I might do. That's the plan. So hang tight and let me get the tailstock out of the way. All right, let's see what we got to work with on this. Ooh, about a 3/8 of an inch or so. Take all that out of the center. So let's get that out of the center and see what we got. Tool rest is just a little bit too high. All right, here we go. see where we're at. I don't want to take too much off of that. I got a good 3/16. So I'm going to clean that up a little bit and define my bead, and we'll clean up the outer edge. Here we go. Do a shear scrape. Okay. Now we're going to define this bead just a little bit more. Okay. Bead looks nice. Clean this up just a hair more. I might leave that little lip in there just to give it a little bit of detail. So let's clean this up just a little bit. Actually, hang tight. I got a new tool to try. Hang tight. All right, so what we got here is a negative rake scraper. I got that at the AEW symposium, and we're going to see how this works. And what you do is pull this back, raise your tool rest up, and you want to give yourself plenty of room. And you're going to come up just a little bit tall. You want to come up about centered right there, and we're going to come across to there. All right, face shield on, and let's try it. It should clean all that up. So let's find out. All right, here we go. Pretty good. A little bit of tore out grain there. I'll do it one more time, but I think it's going to work. Just kind of come in on an angle. Oh yeah, I like the way that works. I'm going to do the same thing out here, clean up this outer edge. Just give that a good clean swipe. I like the way that works. Oh yeah, that's that rotted part right there, so there's not much I can do about there, but there's a piece there. So I might try it one more time, but it's looking pretty good. So here we go, one more time. Move my tool rest over just a hair more. There we go. I got this up fairly fast, about 900 RPMs. I'm pretty low on my tool rest. Like that. Oh yeah, that looks real good. Now that'll come out with my sanding, I think. I'm going to clean this up. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to leave it as is, and I'm going to sand that with sandpaper. So I'm going to clean her up with some sandpaper, and we'll be right back. So hang tight. All right, so what I've got here, I think I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to put it in my chuck, my Linworth chuck, because it'll go on the outside edge here, but I need to clean up the face of this at least about 2 inches in. So I'm going to swing my tool rest around, put my tool rest in, and I'm going to clean up the face of this about 2 inches in. So let me get you around here where you can see what I'm doing, and we'll go from there. So hang tight. All right, so we're just going to clean up this little bit right here. And it's not be a whole lot I need to clean up. So I'm just going to do a nice shear stroke here. See what we got here. Looks good. I'll clean up just a little bit more. All right. We'll keep moving away. Let me clean that up and I'll be right back. All right, so you can see what I've got. Looks pretty good, I think. And then front part. So we're going to turn it around and we'll do the base of it. And we'll be about done with this project. All right, so here we are. We're back at it. Lost my little fuzzy ball on my end of my mic. I'm kind of looking around as I'm working for it. So hopefully this doesn't give you too much of a headache. In fact, let's steal one off one of the other ones just to be safe. That way we can, there you go. All right, got my little fuzzy on there. All right, so I turned around, I put it in my Linworth chuck. It's just about that much too big, it won't fit in there. So I put a flat bowl on the front of it, put it up in there. She's running pretty true, a little bit off, but we're going to start right here and we're going to clean this up. I'm not going to go down too much more than that. Save that for my foot. And that's my plan. So I'm not going to touch this out here too much, but I am going to put a bead out there just for that. So I'm going to do that bead right now. Actually, we're going to clean this up first. I'm going to clean this up down to that point. So clean this up. It ain't moving. It ain't moving. It's a good thing. So, clean this up here. All right. It looks pretty good. Do a little bit more on there. Actually, I'm going to use my negative rake on that and see what I can clean up here. Give me just a little bit more room. Put my tailstock out to about 3.25, 3.5 inches. Gives me just a little bit more room. I got to watch too because I might be getting a little thin there and I don't want to flex the base. So a little bit high. Yeah, that would work. Just want to clean that up. Okay. Cleans that up pretty good. I got to do some sanding on it, but that's all right. Now I wanted to work on my foot. So I'm going to grab my little spindle gouge and we'll put a foot on it. Okay, so I'm going to put a foot right there. So I'm going to get rid of this. Okay. Now, straighten this out. So, I'll drop the full rest down now. I want to see what that looks like too. I need to clean up that edge right there. Other than that, it looks good. So I'm going to That don't look too bad when it's spinning, and it looks pretty good when it's stopped. So I'm going to do some hand sanding on that, and we'll take it off, and we'll close the video out because I probably won't finish the bowl off until I get ready to do some pour paint and stuff. So hang tight. All right, so I got her sanded. We're pretty well done with it all. Let's take it off there and show you what I got, and then what my plan is. I think, let me clean this little knob up there, and I'll be right back. So hang tight. All right, so here we are. As you can tell, it took a turn from what originally I was planning on doing with this piece of wood. It's a little bit smaller. Originally this piece was 24 inches across, and now I believe it's like 14, 16 inches, 14 and a half. So it went from 24 down to 14 and a half, and I made a nice platter. So my thinking is I'm going to use pour paint in the center of this, let it dry. And then this outside, I'm going to texture it, do some varnishing on it or something. And I might do a piece all the way around the outside edge of this too as well. So let's see what happens, and we'll go from there. I don't know. It's going to be fun. I'm going to do that, and I'll show you the video of doing the pour paint and then the texturing on that at another time, and we'll go from there. But I'm thinking maybe I put it back on there and put a mark like right around here to get a distinct circle so that I know where to do the texturing for. I might do that. I don't know. I'll decide. Anyway, people ask me about why I don't show finishing the pieces, because like on this one, I'm going in a different direction than what I originally thought. So it's hard to finish it in one sitting and get one video. This video here is 45 minutes long, and so any longer finishing it and doing all that stuff, it would be 2 hours long. So we don't want to do that. So stay tuned, and you'll see the final project once I get it done, and we'll go from there. So look in the future for the following videos. Have a good night. Bye.